Assalamu alaikum students. I hope all of you are fine and your Bakra Eid went fine. I welcome you all on the online teaching system once again. And for your quick recall, we started with the central nervous system pharmacology, and so far we have covered a introductory lecture on the CNS. Then we discussed about benzodiazepines and barbiturates and other anxiolytic drugs. Then we discussed about antipsychotic drugs. And today's lecture is about anti-epileptic drugs. So let's move on to the learning objective of the lecture. At the end of this lecture, we would expect from everyone that you should be able to define what is epilepsy, what are their different types, and what are the drugs used for the treatment of epilepsy. And at the end, I would discuss everything about phenytoin sodium, which is its mechanism of action, its clinical uses, drug interactions, very important, and its adverse effects. This lecture would be covered in two parts. First part would be covered by me. So students, what is epilepsy? Just a little bit of know-how you should know. If somebody asks you, okay, classify anti-epileptic drugs and you don't know what is epilepsy, then it's a real bad thing. So epilepsy is a disorder of cerebral cortex and it is characterized by recurrent seizures and often accompanied by episodes of consciousness and or amnesia. So first of all, you should know that it is characterized by seizures. Then number 2, episodes of unconsciousness. Number 3, and or amnesia, which is loss of memory. So epilepsy can be simple seizures. It can be accompanied by one or more features like unconsciousness or amnesia, right? So what are basically seizures? They are sudden, transitory, uncontrolled episodes of brain dysfunction. And why are they occurring? Because of abnormal electrical discharges involving the cerebral neuronal cells. So you have to remember the seizures can be of various types depending upon the area of the brain affected. Like if the parietal or occipital lobe is affected, then there are visual, auditory and olfactory hallucination accompanied by it. Seizures may be localized or may be generalized. So let us see classification of epileptic seizures. Basically, if the activity starts in one part of the brain, it is called partial, and if the whole brain is involved, then it is called generalized. So in partial seizures, we have different types. Number 1, simple seizure activity while the person is alert. Complex seizure activity with change in awareness of surrounding. And with secondary generalization, seizure activity begins in one area and then spreads. Generalized seizures are divided into various types. The most commonest one is tonic-clonic, in which there is phases of tonic and clonic episodes, stiffening and falling and jerking of the whole body. Then there are tonic seizures, and the tone is increased. Then atonic, in which the body loses its tone and there is at once falling heavily into the ground. As you must have seen in various movies, a person stands still and he just drops off to the ground. Then we have myoclonic, as the name is indicating, myoclonic, the muscle involvement, the jerky movements of the body. Absence seizures, since again the name is indicating, is especially seen in children. Absence, it seems that if the student is present in the class but he is not aware of his surroundings, that what the teacher is teaching him or her, and there is blank staring and blinking without falling. So this is classical of absence seizures and it is classically seen in children. So these are various types of epileptic seizures. So this is the picture showing the tonic phase of the generalized seizures, and this is the clonic phase. Basically, what is causing epilepsy? Anything that disturbs the normal pattern of activity in the brain can trigger epilepsy. What are the various causes of epilepsy? It can be any change in brain chemistry, hereditary causes, other disorders, head injury. For example, if someone has a road traffic accident and after that they had trauma, then he presents with epilepsy. Then prenatal injuries, while birth, there is any damage to the baby's head, then it can also lead to epilepsy. And environmental causes as well. Most commonest types of epilepsy are number one, absence seizures, just I showed you, especially seen in children. Temporal lobe epilepsy, frontal lobe epilepsy, occipital and parietal lobe epilepsy. Okay, students, now we move on to the various anti-epileptic drugs that can be grouped according to their mechanism of action. So they are they're classified into various groups according to how they act. Number one, sodium channel blockers. Number two, calcium current inhibitors. Number third, GABA enhancers. Number 4, glutamate blockers. Number 5, carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. Students, at this point, if you recall carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, these were the diuretics like acetazolamide. So that was also used in epilepsy. Hormones and drugs with unknown mechanisms of action. So we can also classify anti-epileptic drugs according to its chemical structure, like it can be a barbiturate, deoxybarbiturate, hydantoin derivatives, then aminostilbene, succinimide, aliphatic carboxylic acid derivatives, benzodiazepines, and phenyltryptamine derivatives. So this is the basic classification of anti-epileptic drugs, but you should know according to its mechanism of action, which we just discussed, like sodium and calcium channel blockers and GABA enhancers and glutamate blockers. So this is just the terminologies of the chemical structure, which when we move on to the drugs, you should be familiar with these chemical structures. Sodium channel blockers, number one group is sodium channel blockers. We have carbamazepine, phenytoin, fosphenytoin, oxcarbazepine, and lamotrigine. The most important drug from examination point of view, and you can say that it's a prototype drug, is phenytoin sodium, which we'll be covering in today's lecture. Then we have GABA receptor agonist, in which we have, what can you see from these drugs? From which group do they belong to? Diazepam. This is a benzodiazepine. Clonazepam, it's also a benzodiazepine. Then phenobarbital, which is a barbiturate. So GABA receptor agonist, if you recall from the chapter of sedative hypnotic drugs, we discussed that these drugs, they act on the GABA benzodiazepine chloride channel complex, increasing the conductance of fluoride, leading to hyperpolarization. So these are those drug groups which are acting at the GABA receptor. Then we have GABA reuptake inhibitors, which is tirzepatide. Okay, basically what is our main mission is to increase the level of GABA. Since there is abnormal discharges, electrical discharges, neuronal discharges, so we have to decrease those. So what is our mission? Our aim is to increase the level of GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and decrease the level of glutamate, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter. So reuptake of GABA is to be blocked so that GABA is more available at postsynaptically. Transaminase inhibitor. This is basically enzyme which is responsible for the metabolism of GABA. So if we inhibit the metabolism of GABA, then there would be increased level of GABA. So the drug is vigabatrin. So students, the classification of these drugs are very important. Once you do the classification according to the mechanism of action, then it would be automatically you will be learning the mechanism of action of each drug separately as well. Then we have drug groups with a potential GABA-nergic mechanism of action like gabapentin and valproate. Then we have the glutamate blockers in which we have felbamate and topiramate. So as I mentioned you earlier that the main purpose is to increase the level of inhibitory neurotransmitter and decrease the level of excitatory neurotransmitters, and glutamate is an excitatory one. So we have these glutamate blockers, felbamate and topiramate. So why are we giving anti-epileptic drug? What is the main purpose? The main purpose is to control epilepsy. Okay, we cannot cure it, but we can control it. How? By preventing seizures. And how is it achieved? It is achieved by single drug therapy or combination drug therapy as well. So now we move on to the drug for today's lecture, which is phenytoin sodium. It's a very important drug from examination point of view. Number one, about its chemistry, it is a Hydantoin derivative. As I mentioned earlier, that we can classify anti-epileptic drugs according to its chemical structure as well and according to its mechanism of action. So according to its chemistry, it is a Hydantoin derivative. And regarding its mechanism of action, how is it acting? It's a sodium channel blocker. It's a sodium channel blocker. And what is it? What does it do? It stabilizes the influence on neuronal membrane, prolongs the inactivated state of voltage sensitive sodium channels. So it governs the refractory period of the neuron. Low concentration, if it's given in low concentration, high frequency discharges are inhibited, whereas at high concentration, it not only inhibits the sodium channel but also reduces the calcium influx during depolarization, number one. Number two, it also causes inhibition of glutamate, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter. It also causes facilitation of GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Then this point is very important. Therapeutic concentrations have no effect on resting membrane potential, which means that this drug is only effective when there is high neuronal discharges from the brain. So normal synaptic transmission is not impaired by phenytoin. This diagram is the most important diagram regarding the mechanism of action and the site of action of various anti-epileptic drugs. You all should be familiar with this diagram. Number one, we discussed about the sodium channel blockers. So this is the sodium channel. It has got activated state and inactivation gate. And what is phenytoin do? Our main drug, the prototype drug, it prolongs the inactivated state of the sodium channel. So this is how sodium ion cannot enter inside the cell. So phenytoin, carbamazepine, valproate and lamotrigine, they all are acting at this level of sodium channels. Then we have this benzodiazepine GABA chloride channel complex, which you have already done in sedative hypnotics when I told you in detail that it's a pentameric structure. It has got 2 alpha, 2 beta and 1 gamma subunit. There is binding sites for benzodiazepines, for GABA, if you can recall, and when there is conductance of the chloride channel, there is hyperpolarization. Okay, so what is happening if you look clearly at this ion channel complex, the GABA, it binds to it and there is opening of chloride channel. Benzodiazepines and barbiturates, number one, the difference, if you recall, it was that the barbiturates, they prolonged the duration of opening of the chloride channel. Okay, whereas benzodiazepine was increasing the frequency of opening of chloride channel. So which drugs are enhancing the action of GABA or facilitating the GABA mediated chloride channel openings are barbiturates, benzodiazepines, vigabatrin, we discussed it. The vigabatrin is a GABA transaminase inhibitor, and as you can see that this is inhibiting the enzyme transaminase, which is responsible for the metabolism or termination of action of this GABA. Then we have valproate and gabapentane. Gabapentane is acting at the GABA site as a GABAergic drug itself. Then we have this calcium channel, and the current here is the T-type calcium current. Note down, students, this is very important because there are various types of calcium channels. If you recall from the chapter of your CVS, when we discussed about antihypertensive drugs, then we discussed there are calcium channel blockers, those were acting on the heart and those acting on the blood vessels. So these were not the T-type. So it is important to mention in the hypothalamus there is a T-type current. So these calcium, when it is blocked, then there would be inhibition of the calcium inside the neuronal cell, and these drugs are ethosuximide, trimethadone and valproate. So if you see from this diagram, there is a drug which is having multiple mechanisms like valproate. It is causing inhibition of calcium current. It is also facilitating the action of GABA, and it is also acting at the level of sodium channels. As well as, if you can see from this diagram, valproate is also inhibiting the enzyme GABA transaminase. So valproate will be covered in the next lecture, but it's a very important drug as it is acting through multiple mechanisms. Phenytoin, the important thing about its pharmacokinetics is it is 80 to 90% bound to plasma proteins, number one. And if you recall from the chapter of your general pharmacology, if any drug has affinity for the plasma protein, what are the characteristics of plasma protein? Number one, if it is bound to plasma protein, it's uh, pharmacologically inert. It acts as a reservoir, and if any other drug is given along with that previous drug which has affinity for plasma protein as well, so it is going to displace the first drug. So it will lead to drug interaction. ठीक है, then it is metabolized by liver and it follows the zero order kinetics of elimination. So there were two orders of kinetics of elimination, first order and zero order. So if you recall, there are three drugs which follow zero order kinetics. And what are these drugs? Aspirin, phenytoin and ethanol at high doses. Why does the drug follow zero order? Because all the enzyme systems which are responsible for the metabolism of that drug, they are saturated. So the drug cannot be metabolized. So the drug stays in the body. ठीक है? तो elimination जो है वो कम होगी drug की. The gets accumulated in the body. So there are more chances of toxicity with the zero order kinetics of elimination. And that is seen with three drugs: phenytoin, aspirin and ethanol. Then we have its half-life is increased about to 12 to 24 hours and up to 60 hours. And it's a because the metabolizing enzyme system gets saturated. This is very important at this point that I am mentioning the pharmacokinetics of this drug in details because it has got unique pharmacokinetics. हर ड्रग की pharmacokinetics डिस्कस नहीं होती जो कि simple usual होती है. When it is having something different, then we mention it and you have to memorize it. ठीक है, एक तो plasma protein binding, it has high efficacy for that and likely candidate for drug interactions. Number two, it is follows the zero order kinetics of elimination. The adverse effects of phenytoin. This is another important university question that can be asked directly as well as indirectly. Let me tell you how it can be asked indirectly. First of all, let's go through the adverse effects. Number one, at therapeutic levels, it causes gum hypertrophy, hirsutism. What is hirsutism? It is increased or excessive abnormal hair growth. ठीक है? Coarsening of facial features, hypersensitivity reactions. So this is a diagram which is showing the gingival hyperplasia which is induced by phenytoin sodium. Okay. Then this is a fetal Hydantoin syndrome. Since it's a Hydantoin derivative, so the syndrome which is called, which occurs in the newborn babies whose mother have taken anti-epileptic drug during pregnancy leads to fetal teratogenicity, which is accompanied by cleft palate, congenital heart disease, slowed growth and mental deficiency as well. So this is important university question as well. This is another picture showing the details of fetal Hydantoin syndrome, cleft lip and palate, heart disease and mental deficiency as well, and there is hypophalanges as well. Other adverse effects seen with the phenytoin are affecting the various types of the bloodlines leading to megaloblastic anemia because of decreased folate absorption and its increased clearance, osteomalacia, which is the vitamin D deficiency. It also leads to hypoglycemia because it inhibits the insulin release. Then there is fetal Hydantoin syndrome, which we just saw the pictures. Okay, these are the features accompanied by the fetal Hydantoin syndrome. Microcephaly, this is a small head of the newborn. Now, that was all occurring at the therapeutic concentration. So, what is happening at a very high dose, okay, which is called the dose-related toxicity. So, at therapeutic concentration, क्या हो रहा है? They are causing usual the effects on the face, hair growth, and the gums, and the affecting the metabolism, leading to various types of anemias and vitamin D deficiency. But what happens at a very high concentration? There is effect on the CNS, cerebral and vestibular toxicity, leading to ataxia, which is the abnormal gait, and the vertigo, diplopia, double vision, nystagmus, which is also related to the vision. Then we have drowsiness, behavioral changes, and hallucinations, which are seen with the high plasma concentration, and these are dose-related toxic effects of phenytoin. There is a mnemonic to memorize phenytoin, which is a very important drug. Phenytoin, P450 inducer. So it's a cytochrome P450 enzyme inducer as well. So you can recall from your chapter of pharmacokinetics that there are some drugs that are enzyme inducers and some are enzyme inhibitors. So phenytoin is an enzyme inducer. It induces or enhances the metabolism of other drugs which are metabolized through liver. Then it causes hirsutism, enlarged gums, nystagmus, which is accompanied by other cerebral signs. Then it's teratogenic. It causes fetal Hydantoin syndrome, osteopenia, which is related to the bones. Then interference with folic acid leads to megaloblastic anemia. Then neuropathy. So this is an easy way to remember the adverse effects of phenytoin sodium. Now the drug interaction of the phenytoin, these are very important. Students, number one point is, since I mentioned you okay, it's a cytochrome P450 inducer, number one. So number two, it has a high affinity for plasma protein binding, so it is going to displace other drugs. Okay? So carbamazepine, which is also an anti-epileptic drug, it is also a cytochrome P450 inducer. So carbamazepine and phenytoin increase each other's metabolism if given together. Then valproate, which is also anti-epileptic, but how does it affect phenytoin? It displaces phenytoin from the plasma protein binding site. Then other drugs like chloramphenicol, cimetidine, isoniazid, these are all cytochrome P450 inhibitors. So since phenytoin is metabolized through liver, so these drugs are going to inhibit the metabolism of phenytoin, which leads to slow metabolism of phenytoin, leads to increase in half-life of phenytoin, leads to increased toxicity of phenytoin. जो भी drug आप देंगे which is going to enhance the metabolism of other drug, that is going to decrease its efficacy. And when you give enzyme inhibitor, it is going to inhibit the other drug's metabolism, so that drug is going to stay in the body for a longer time, leads to increased plasma half-life and increased chances of toxicity. So you have to know the difference कि enzyme induction से क्या effects आएंगे और enzyme inhibition से. ठीक है. Now there is phenytoin is an enzyme inducer. So failure of OCP. So this is very important MCQ. ठीक है. OCP is oral contraceptive pills. If a female is taking these pills so that she does not conceive, ठीक, and if the person is also that same female is also having epilepsy and she takes phenytoin for that treatment of epilepsy, so what will happen? She can conceive. Okay, she gets expected. And why there is failure of contraception? Why? Because phenytoin was taken along with oral contraceptive pills. So phenytoin was a cytochrome P450 enzyme inducer. So it is going to induce the metabolism of these hormones. Oral contraceptive pills are क्या होते हैं? They are hormones. ठीक है? इसलिए लेते हैं because so that the pregnancy does not occur. So despite of taking the pills, if the person is also taking phenytoin, there is pregnancy. Why? Because phenytoin increases the metabolism of these pills, these hormones, and as a result, they are metabolized quickly from the body and their efficacy is reduced. So this is a very important drug interaction. ठीक है? Clinical uses of phenytoin, it is used for generalized tonic-clonic seizures, for partial seizures, for status epilepticus, which I just told you it's a medical emergency in which there are recurrent attacks of epilepsy without any break. Trigeminal neuralgias, which is also a very type of painful condition along the root of the trigeminal nerve, which leads to neuronal pain. And also in the cardiac arrhythmias, if you recall from antiarrhythmic drugs, there were 5 classes. Class 1 was sodium channel blocker, class 2 was beta blockers, class 3 was potassium channel blockers, and class 4 was calcium channel blocker. And the class 5 was unidentified or miscellaneous, in which there was adenosine. So phenytoin was belonging to class 1B along with the lidocaine. Okay? So it is also used as antiarrhythmic drug. Students, that was all about phenytoin, and just told you a brief outline about various types of epilepsies. They can be generalized tonic-clonic, that they can be affecting only one part of the body. Okay? It can be atonic, there is loss of tone and at once fall onto the ground. And then there can be absence seizures, in which especially seen in children, and in that case the drug of choice is ethosuximide, which we'll be covering in the next lecture, and it's a very important MCQ. Then we discussed about phenytoin, which is a very important drug from exam point of view, and that is the drug which is not recommended in females. So you should answer this question for your assignment, why phenytoin is not recommended in females. Okay? It can be, you can write your answer in 2 ways, and those females who are young females and those who are married. In both cases, you do not recommend phenytoin. What is the reason? Okay, so answer that question in your own words, and we'll continue this lecture tomorrow, inshallah. Best of luck. Allah Hafiz.